OpenAI versus Anthropic's Claude. Let me give you a real down-to-earth demo, which I've been testing internally for our AI assistant in our learning environment for our community members, which if you're a learning bubble, we think that's the best way to get a quick answer to your questions, because our AI assistant will draw on the transcripts from hundreds, 500 plus of our videos in order to give you an answer and recommend the right videos to you. And we've basically got a huge prompt that we are obviously striving to deliver high quality answers and content for. And so I'm going to demonstrate what I was doing yesterday, which is comparing OpenAI's GPT-4.1, which I was so excited about, with what I've been using so far, which is Claude Sonnet 3.5 and Sonnet 4. And to make that comparison super easy, I'm using Portkey. If you've worked with me before, maybe in a bubble coaching call, I've been recommending Helicone, and I'd still recommend Helicone. The team are amazing. It's very helpful. But if, as of today, if you want something just a little bit more advanced, then Portkey is your analytics and prompt engineering dream. So let me show you what you can do here. I basically created a prompt template, and I've called it query rag, and I simply add it in here, and I'm going to change the model, and so we'll say Claude 3.57 latest. Now you do have to just be careful that the kind of token count doesn't carry over, so I'm going to make sure that they've each got the same token count, and we'll add in another version. We'll say query rag, and I want to see 4. No, Sonnet 4.0. Okay, so I'm not comparing the most expensive models like Opus and whatever OpenAI's got at the moment, because I want to keep the cost. I want to find that sweet spot between cost and quality. And this really has helped me think about it. So these are identical prompts. I'm passing in a huge amount of text. This is basically transcription data from our videos in answer to the user's question. The user's question is, how do I use OpenAI responses? And then I can just say generate, and we'll see each generates. So first thing you notice is that the OpenAI one is quicker, and that's why I was so excited, because I thought I'm adding in streaming. These are all revisions to our learning environment that I haven't deployed to live yet. I'm still working on them. Also, just a quick note: if you want to generate structured JSON with an AI, then the best way to do that most easily is to use Claude, because Bubble actually detects the response as JSON. Now, I am wanting to extract 3 different parts here. I'm wanting to extract the thinking so I can review it. I'm obviously wanting to extract my text response to my users, and I'm wanting to extract the IDs of the videos that recommend as part of the response. Previously, I was using Claude, and I was doing structured JSON response by using the tools, and we've got videos demoing that. And definitely, if you're wanting to get back lists of objects, that is by far the easiest way to do it in Bubble. But because I'm just wanting 3 different text strings back, my thinking, my chat response, and my video IDs, and I want to be able to easily move between models, just how I've demonstrated here. And if I was to use the Claude's workaround, the tools workaround with Claude, I wouldn't be able to easily swap it into OpenAI. I've gone back to what we were doing before you could do structured responses, which is I'm using split by to basically find, here's the end of the response to user, here's the start of the response to user. But yeah, let's take a look at the quality of what's going on here, because this will be interesting, because in my testing, I think I've got a clear idea. So OpenAI says, here's how you integrate it, and then it gives a list, and it describes accurately how to do it, how to find the response. And it also comments that there are advanced features and responses such as web search, file search, and it's giving tips like how the old system prompt is now called instructions, and how the assistant API is being depreciated, and then it lists the recommended videos. Okay, but how does Claude do in response? We get a similar opening, although I'd say it does surface some of the more vital details sooner. Where's it gone on? Let me scroll back up. Where are we here? No, that's the thinking. Oh yeah, because I've also I'm just experimenting. There was a paper put out by Apple which basically said that the impression that AI is thinking and reasoning is a illusion, and so I'm just testing it, but maybe I'm over the hype about thinking. And so rather than using thinking, mainly also because that would then restrict me to particular models, and I wouldn't be able to easily swap between, like swap into GPT-4.1 because this doesn't have thinking, whereas Claude 3.7 does. I'm effectively just saying, write out your thinking as the opening part, which I need to look into the research on this, but is the thinking part of your Claude call, is that really any different to what would be written at the start of the main message if you were to request it in that format? So my first takeaway here is that I think the Claude response here surfaces something more vital at the very top, which is that the Assistance API is going to be sunset in mid-2026. So remember, all of these calls are receiving the same core data, but if you wanted to see that piece of information, it's down here, and it's actually not as rich a piece of information. Remember, all of the prompts here, the bit that's gone into the system and the bit that's gone to the user is identical across these three. Now let's look at Claude 4, because you would expect that to be slightly... I didn't update. There we go. Right, so I'm going to have to run it again. So the response to user, we get a little bit more rich text formatting with the more advanced Claude model, like putting it in bold. We get the mention of mid-2016. We get the instructions. So I don't know about you, but I sort of think that Claude is still writing a better response. Let's just try this with 4.0, because that's still kind of the go-to. And I wish that you could just rerun one of these, but you can't. The Portkey team have got an amazing Discord. They're very responsive. I was having some frustrations with how to structure thinking back when I was playing around with thinking and Claude, and they resolved that in their Discord very quickly. It seems to be hanging a bit there. I wonder what's going. Right. Okay. Another minor quibble is that by changing the model, it's forgotten the parameters, or it was reset them rather. Right. Here we go. Okay, so we've actually got a bigger issue here with using 4.0, which is less of an intelligent model, I believe, than 4.1, which is that it's ruined my necessary structure for extracting the different parts of the conversation. So I say here the response format, it must be analysis, then it must be response to user, then list of my video IDs. And as you can see from the previous test, we get back the broken up, it breaks up different parts there, whereas here it doesn't open the response to user. So that's not, if I was in Bubble using split by to extract the response to user, it's not going to work. And in fact, for some reason it does it with the other two parts of my prompt, but it doesn't do it with response to user. So I won't be using GPT-4.0. Last bit I'm going to highlight here is if we go across the logs, we can actually just see the cost. And now remember that this exactly the same amount of text is going into system and my prompt. So we can see that 4.0, we've got 4.0 there. And then if we, so what I'm mainly interested is about the Sonnet 4. Interestingly, that's a different price. I thought that Sonnet 4 was the same as 3.7. I have to check that. Okay, Sonnet 4 is, I suppose, it's going to depend on what was written in the response, isn't it? It's the output is also a cost factor. But I can still do a comparison here, which is that, so it's kind of 2.8 cents for Sonnet 4. And what's annoying is I really wanted to like GPT-4.1 because of how quick it is and cheap. Now, I did try 03 because that's a similar cost to GPT-4, to Sonnet 4, and that wrote a good answer, but actually it turned out to be much more expensive. So while I would love to be able to deploy GPT-4.1 because it's quicker, to our learning environment, I think I'm going to be sticking with Claude 4 for now. I'd love to hear your feedback. I hope that you've appreciated this deep dive. If you want to learn more about Portkey, I did a demo video. You just have to check back on our history. And of course, if you join our community, you get access to all our videos and our exclusive Slack community. I almost said Discord, but I mean Slack. So it'd be good to see you there. And all the best with building your bubble apps.